Welcome to this lesson on straight line graphs. Now, if you're given a particular equation, you can make a table of values and plot a graph. So, for example, y equals 2x plus 3. We can make a table of values for that. When x is minus 2, y is 2 times minus 2 plus 3, which is minus 1. When x is minus 1, y is 2 times minus 1 plus 3, which is 1, and we can go through all of the values of x and work out the corresponding values of y. Once we've done that, we can plot those pairs on a graph. So if we plot minus 1, 1, it's there. 0, 3 is there. 0 across and 3 up. 1, 5 is there. 1 along, 5 up, and so on. We don't actually need to plot all of these points to see that it's a straight line. Now, this lesson is all about being able to make that graph without having to bother doing a table of values. It's all about being able to look at the equation and know just from the equation what the graph is going to look like. So we can observe that certain characteristics link the graph to the equation. For example, the graph cuts the y-axis at 3 because of the plus 3 in the equation. Let's think about that. It's got a plus 3. So when x is 0, you get 0 times 2 plus 3. So when x is 0, all you get is the plus 3. And because of that, it goes through the point 0, 3. So the fact that it's got a plus 3 in the equation means that it cuts the y-axis at 3. Now, because calculating y involves 2 times x, then y increases by 2 on the graph every time x increases by 1. What does that mean? Well, when you calculate what y is, the calculation involves doing 2 times x. So because of that, whenever x goes up by a single unit, y is going to increase by 2 units. So if you look at that triangle on the graph, that means that on the graph, when there's a movement of 1 unit across, there is a movement of 2 units up. For every 1 that the graph goes across, it goes up by 2. And that's because of the 2x in the equation. So how steep a graph is called its gradient, and the number in front of x affects the gradient. So the point where it cuts is called the intercept. And as I just said, the steepness is called the gradient. So the plus 3 on the end affected the intercept, and the 2 in front of the x affected the gradient. So if you know where a graph is supposed to cut the y-axis, and you know how steep it's supposed to be, then you don't need to plot all of the points in order to be able to draw it. And straight line graphs are nearly always in this form: y equals mx plus c. Y equals something times x plus something else. And the number in front of x, which I've called m, affects the gradient, and the plus something on the end affects where it cuts the y-axis, the intercept in other words. I said nearly because horizontal and vertical lines have their own types of equation. Here's a horizontal line. It goes through 0, 3, 9, 3, and it goes through a lot of points that are something 3. 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3. But the y coordinate will always be 3 for that line. So the equation of that graph is y equals 3. vertical lines, similarly, well, here's a vertical line. It goes through the point 5 minus 4, it goes through 5, 0, it goes through 5, 6 that I've shown, and it's going to go through a lot of points that are 5 something. So 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4. The x-coordinate of that line, of the points on that line, will always be 5. So the equation of that line is x equals 5, because on that line, the value of x is always 5. So horizontal and vertical lines have their own type of equation, but otherwise it's y equals mx plus c, y equals something x plus something. So here's an example question. The line shown below goes through the points 0, 3 and 4, 15. What is its equation? Well, we can see that the intercept is 3, it cuts at 3. And we need to work out the gradient. We need to work out how steep it is. Now, the gradient is measured as the change in y divided by change in x. So how much the graph goes up or down compared with how much it goes across. Between the 2 points I've shown here, the change in y is 12 and the change in x is 4. Because between the 2 points, y has gone from being 3 to being 15. 15 minus 3 is 12. And x has gone from being 0 to being 4. And 4 minus 0 is 4. So between the 2 points, y has gone up by 12. X has gone up by 4. So the gradient is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So if the intercept is 3 and the gradient is 3, then the equation of the graph is y equals 3x plus 3. It's 3x because of the gradient being 3, and then it's plus 3 on the end because of the intercept being 3. Well, it's time for you to have a go at some questions, so do have a go at those, please.